The sun was hot on her skin. Her wrists burned from the metal chains, heavy and tight, cutting into her blue flesh. She didn't cry. The crowd around her was loud. They shouted, laughed, threw things, old food, rocks, even spit. But she didn't cry. Not anymore. She was just a girl, maybe 17 in human years. Her hair was silver like moonlight, and her eyes glowed softly, a trait of her mother's royal bloodline. But none of that mattered now. Today, she would be quartered, her arms and legs tied to 4 beasts, pulled in opposite directions. They called it justice. A judge stood on the stone platform, his voice booming through the square. By the law of the high species, this half-blood creature is guilty of treason. She gave her body to a human. She carried his child. She dared to love outside her caste. The girl closed her eyes. The child was already gone. They had made sure of that. She had no one left now. Let this punishment be a warning, the judge continued. Our blood is sacred. Let it not be polluted by filth. The crowd cheered. Chains rattled as the beasts were brought forward, huge scaled animals with red eyes and long teeth. The soldiers tied her limbs slowly, almost for show. She didn't scream. She didn't beg. She only looked up at the sky. One last time, then it happened. A voice, not loud, not angry, just calm, like someone talking to a friend. Stop. The word cut through the noise like a blade. Everyone turned. A man stood at the edge of the crowd. Tall, dusty coat, dark hair, scars on his hands. A human. The guards raised their weapons. Step back, off-worlder. This does not concern you. But he didn't move. Instead, he walked forward. His boots hit the stone with slow, steady steps. People made space, but no one knew why. There was something strange about his eyes. Not fear, not madness, just quiet strength. She's a child, he said simply. What you're doing isn't justice, it's murder. The crowd started shouting again. Filthy human. She betrayed us. She deserves worse. The man didn't flinch. One of the guards drew his sword. You want to die with her, is that it? The human looked him in the eyes. No, he said. I want her released. The judge laughed. By whose authority? The man reached into his coat, and for a moment, everyone stepped back, thinking he had a weapon. But instead, he pulled out a small metal tag, old, rusted, but powerful. The crowd gasped. That's a war-bound tag, someone whispered. A soldier went pale. He's a veteran. One of the old ones. The judge narrowed his eyes. Impossible. They were all wiped out. The man's voice stayed calm. Not all. He turned to the girl. Her eyes were wide now. She didn't understand. Why would a human risk his life for her? Why now? Unchain her, he said again. The guards hesitated. The beast snarled. The chains creaked. The judge raised a hand. Enough of this. Kill them both. But no one moved. Something was wrong. The air felt heavy, like a storm was coming. Human stepped closer to the platform. His coat shifted, and now they saw it. A blade on his back, not a gun. Not a blaster. A sword, old-fashioned and illegal on this planet. He placed one hand on the hilt. I won't ask again, he said. Let her go. The guard lunged. In a flash, the sword was out. The blade sang through the air, slicing the guard's spear in half. The man didn't even move his feet. Silence. Everyone froze. The second guard stepped back. The beasts growled but didn't move. Even they sensed danger. The girl looked up at him. Her lips parted. Why? She asked softly. He didn't answer. Instead, he knelt beside her, slicing the chains with his sword. One by one, the bindings fell to the ground. When the last one hit the stone, she collapsed forward, too weak to stand. He caught her gently. You're safe now, he said. Her voice trembled. No, I'm not yet. He looked around. The crowd was still frozen. But not for long. The judge was shouting orders. More soldiers were coming, and the girl whispered, "You don't know what you've done. They'll hunt you now." The man stood, lifting her into his arms. "I know," he said. He turned to leave, and the crowd split like water dot as they vanished into the alleyways. One voice whispered through the silence. They were going to quarter her, but the human saved her. And no one could guess what the reward for that act would be. They ran through the back alleys of the outpost, dust rising behind every step. The girl's body shook in the human's arms, weak and cold, but her eyes never left his face. "You shouldn't have done that," she whispered. "They'll come after you. They'll burn everything just to find me." The man didn't look back. His voice stayed calm. "Let them try." Behind them, alarm bells began to ring. The Empress's guard had been alerted. Within minutes, there would be patrols, drones, soldiers in the sky. He didn't care. The outpost was built into the side of a cliff, all winding tunnels, dark steel, and hungry eyes watching from the shadows. No one offered help. No one dared. She gripped his coat tighter. "You don't know what I am." He paused in the darkness of an old freight tunnel. "Then tell me." She looked down. "I'm half Sernai," she said. "My mother was royal blood, but she loved a human, and for that I was born." Her voice cracked. "My father was taken. My mother executed. And me? I was kept alive only long enough to make an example of." The human crouched and gently set her down. She leaned against the wall, breathing hard. Her skin glowed faintly in the shadows like silver fire. "They say love is dangerous," she muttered. "But I think hate is worse." He studied her for a moment, then offered her water from his canteen. "What's your name?" She hesitated. "They didn't give me one," she said. "Only a number. But my mother once whispered a name before they took her. Irea." "Irea," he repeated, like the sound mattered. She looked up. "What about you?" "Cole," he answered. A silence passed, but not for long. Heavy boots echoed in the tunnel. Voices barked orders in a sharp alien tongue. "They're here." Irea said, panic in her throat. Cole stood and drew his blade. "Then I guess we see what they're made of." From the shadows emerged 6 soldiers, red armor, twin spears, eyes hidden behind dark visors. "Return the girl," one barked. "Or die." Cole didn't move. They stepped closer. Then, in one blink, Cole vanished. No, he didn't disappear. He moved fast. His blade slid through the air, so smooth, so silent. One guard dropped, then another. The third tried to scream, but the sword's tip touched his throat before sound could leave. Irea's eyes widened. He wasn't just fighting, he was dancing. Every move was practiced, clean, almost too perfect. The final soldier backed away. You're Warbird." Cole didn't answer. The name alone was enough. The survivor turned and ran. Cole sheathed his blade. The fight had taken less than 10 seconds. Irea whispered, "What are you?" He helped her up. "Just a human." She laughed weakly. "No human fights like that," he shrugged. "Not anymore." They moved deeper into the tunnels where old wiring sparked like dying stars, and abandoned machines whispered forgotten stories. As they walked, Irea spoke again. "They used to say the Warbird couldn't feel anything. That you were just weapons, empty, cold." Cole didn't reply. She continued, "But you stopped them from killing me. That wasn't cold." He stopped, turned to her. "I saw a girl about to die," he said. "And no one stood up for her. Not even her own people. I don't care what blood runs in your veins, Irea. I saw someone who didn't deserve to die." She looked down, her voice soft. "But now they'll punish you." Cole nodded. "Maybe, but why?" She asked. He looked her in the eyes. "Because someone once saved me too. And I've been waiting for a chance to repay that kind of mercy ever since." They stepped into a chamber filled with old holoscreens. Broken, dusty, but one flickered to life. A symbol appeared, Irea gasped. That's the rebel mark. Cole didn't blink. I figured this was still here. A door opened slowly at the back of the room. A figure stepped out, tall, four-armed, wearing a tattered cloak. You brought her? The figure growled. Cole stepped forward. She needs safety, the figure hissed. She's marked. She carries the bond seal. You know what that means? Irea looked confused. The what? The rebel leader pointed. To the back of her shoulder, where faint light now pulsed like a heartbeat. That's a soul bond, he said darkly. You didn't just save her, human. You claimed her. Cole froze. Irea's voice trembled. That can't be true. But the rebel leader was already backing away. She's no longer just a target, he muttered. She's your mate now, and they will come for you both. With fire, Irea stared at Cole, stunned. Is it true? Did your blood mix with mine when you broke the chains? Cole didn't answer right away, but deep in his chest he felt it. Something old, something ancient, now awakened. Whatever it was, it had already begun. The silence in the old rebel bunker was thick, like dust that had settled for centuries and didn't want to be disturbed. Cole stood still. So did Irea. She had touched her shoulder again, where the faint light pulsed softly beneath her skin, just where the chain once dug deepest. The glow was growing stronger. What did he mean? She asked, staring at the rebel leader. Mate? Bonded? The cloaked figure stepped into the pale light. His skin was gray and rough like cracked stone, his voice deep and gravelly. You don't know? She shook her head. The leader sighed, then pointed to a carved wall on the far side of the chamber. Ancient symbols glowed dimly there. That mark, he said, only appears when two bloodlines mix in an act of true defense. Not by force, not by tradition, but by will. Cole frowned. But I didn't do anything. I just broke her chains. Exactly, the rebel said. You touched her with clean intent. And your blood, your spirit, your defiance, spoke to the old code written in her bones. Irea stepped back, shaken. But I didn't agree to anything. You didn't have to, the old one said. It's not a choice you make with your mouth. It's a promise made by your soul. Cole looked at the glowing mark again, then at Irea. She looked small now, fragile again, nothing like the marked warrior they said she might become. I didn't mean to bind you, he said quietly. She nodded. I know, but it's done. The rebel leader crossed his arms. And that means everything's changed. Cole narrowed his eyes. Explain. You're not just a fugitive now, the elder said. You're a living violation of the Empress's law. A human, bound to the hidden bloodline of the royal caste. Irea's head snapped up. No, I'm nothing. My mother was executed before they could name me heir. The old leader stared into her glowing eyes. That's what they told you. He stepped aside and activated an old holocrystal. A 3D image spun in the air. A tall woman with silver hair and the same glow in her eyes. She wore a crown of bone and light. That's my Irea whispered. Your mother, the leader finished. The last true queen before the Empress stole the throne. Cole's heart began to race. You were born in secret, the elder continued. Hidden, but your blood knows the truth. And now the bond with this human. It's awakened, the seal placed in your spine at birth. You can't undo it. Cole turned to Irea. You're saying she's the rightful ruler, the elder said. But too dangerous to live. That's why the Empress wants her dead. Irea sat down slowly, shaking. I'm not ready for this, and not anyone. I was just trying to stay alive. And yet, the elder replied, the old blood chose him to protect you. Cole stepped forward. What happens now? The elder studied him closely. The bond isn't just symbolic. It links your life forces. She draws strength from you. But if either of you dies, the other may too. Cole said nothing, but his fingers clenched. Irea stood. So we run again? The elder shook his head. Running won't save you. But there is one way to break the Empress's hold. Cole's eyes narrowed. What is it? The elder walked to a locked cabinet and pulled out a small star-shaped pendant. This is the Ember Crest. It can awaken the throne's true path, but only in the Temple of the Ancients. Irea stepped forward. That temple was sealed centuries ago. Because the Empress feared someone like you might return, he replied. If you survive the trials inside, the Empire must recognize your claim. And if we fail? Cole asked. Then the bond burns both of you from the inside, the elder said. And the last hope dies with you. The room fell silent again. Irea looked at Cole. I didn't ask for this, she whispered. He nodded. Neither did I. She hesitated, then reached for his hand. But I'm glad it was you. He didn't pull away. Not this time. Then a low hum echoed through the floor, followed by a distant rumble. The elder rushed to the wall. Scanners are picking up movement. Imperial dropships. They found you. Cole drew his sword. Irea gripped the pendant. They locked eyes. Then we run, she said. No, Cole replied. Now we fight. The rebel base crumbled behind them. Explosions lit the sky as Cole and Irea ran through the narrow rock tunnels, the ember crest glowing between her fingers. She held it close like it could burn her, and maybe it could, because her skin was changing. I can feel it, she gasped. Like fire inside my chest. Cole grabbed her hand. Don't stop. We need distance. Behind them, the Empress's guards poured in. Black armor, red visors, weapons locked. The dropships circled above the cliffs, scanning every heat signature. They were being hunted. But the worst part wasn't the enemy. It was what was happening to Irea. Her eyes were brighter. Her voice had changed, deeper, almost echoing. And her fingers left soft light trails in the air when she moved. They ducked into a collapsed mining shaft. Cole knelt beside her, catching his breath. She leaned against the wall, her skin slick with sweat. Something's wrong, she whispered. I feel too strong. But I also feel like I'm not in control. Cole scanned her face. Your energy's pulling from the bond. She looked up, panicked. I'm draining you? He didn't answer. But the truth was written on his skin, pale, shivering, his breathing slower than normal. The more she changed, the weaker he became. Bond is linked, he said softly. Your pain, your power, your emotions, I feel it too. I didn't want this, she said. I didn't want to take anything from you. You didn't, he replied. You gave me something, a reason. He reached out and touched her cheek, and for a moment her shaking stopped. But then, the glow in her chest pulsed violently. She clutched her stomach. It hurts. Cole caught her as she collapsed forward. He pulled open the side of her robe, and there, just beneath her collarbone, the mark had grown. What was once a faint glow was now a swirling pattern of light, a crown, a sword, and a flame. What is it? She breathed. He stared, stunned. The royal crest. It's burning into you. She looked down, horrified. It's rewriting my blood. A low growl echoed through the shaft. They both looked up. Something was coming, not soldiers, but something older. I know that sound, Irea whispered. It's a bondhound. A what? They're bred to find linked pairs and tear them apart. Cole stood, sword drawn. Then let it try. The air thickened. Dust fell from the ceiling. Then, from the darkness ahead, a creature crawled forward, all bone and sinew, with 6 clawed legs and a mouth full of metal needles. Its eyes glowed blue. It locked on Irea instantly. The bond in her chest pulsed harder, and the beast lunged. Cole met it mid-air, blade raised. Metal clashed against bone, sparks flew. He rolled sideways, slashing the creature's shoulder. But it turned fast, Too fast. It knocked him into the wall. Pain shot through his ribs. Irea cried out, and the bond responded. Her hands ignited. Not fire, but light, pulsing, radiant, like a star had cracked open inside her palms. The beast turned toward her, just in time for her to scream. Light exploded outward, a shockwave of energy through the creature back, smashing it into the far wall. Cole shielded his eyes. Dust and light swirled like a storm. When it cleared, the beast was dead, its chest burned through, glowing like molten rock. Irea stood in the center of the blast zone, her hair floating like she was underwater. Her eyes glowed pure white, and then she collapsed. Cole rushed forward, catching her before she hit the ground. Her face was pale again. The light was gone, but so was her strength. She whispered weakly. I didn't know I could do that. He held her close. Neither did I. She looked up at him. Does the bond scare you? He nodded. Yeah, but not more than losing you. Her breath caught. He touched her hand, and in that quiet moment, surrounded by broken stone and the fading body of a beast, they both understood something. This bond wasn't just about survival anymore. It was changing who they were. From enemies. To something much more dangerous. To something that might save or destroy them both. The message traveled fast, across satellites, spaceports, and deep code networks. The news spread like wildfire. The half-blood lives. The crest has awakened. The heir walks. And with it came the Empress's response, silent, deadly, written. In the stars, a bounty, 10 million credits. Alive or dead, and the clause below, written in red. Kill the human first. Make her watch. Cole and Irea didn't know this yet. They had taken shelter in a broken cargo ship buried beneath old rocks. In the canyon pass. The ship was dead, no fuel, no power, no shields, but it was quiet, safe. For now. Irea sat near the dark engine room, her knees to her chest. The glow on her body had faded, but the bond mark on her skin still shimmered, faint and steady like a second heartbeat. I can feel them, she whispered. Watching. Cole crouched beside her. There's no one here. She shook her head, not with eyes, with hate. The moment the bond sealed, something woke up, like the galaxy turned its face toward us. Cole handed her a ration bar. She didn't take it. He sat beside her. You okay? No, she said, and I don't think I'm supposed to be. She looked at him. Her eyes were tired, but deeper now, older, like the blood in her veins had years she hadn't lived. I never wanted power, she whispered. I wanted quiet, a place to be left alone. And now I'm a symbol of something I don't understand. He placed his hand on hers. You don't have to carry this alone. She looked down at their hands. That's the problem, she said softly. I think I do, because if they kill you, this bond could break me. Miles above them, in orbit. A fleet captain stared at the bounty alert. She's worth more than half my crew, he muttered. The alien next to him hissed. The Empress wants blood, but others will want her alive. Her DNA could change everything. The captain smiled darkly. Then we don't kill her. We sell her. They set course for the canyon. Back inside the wrecked ship, Irea stood slowly. We can't stay here. Someone will come. And if they find us before we reach the temple, we won't make it on foot, Cole said. But we might not need to. He pulled open a side panel on the ship's dashboard. The screen flickered. Weakly. Still some power, he said. Irea watched as he connected wires, bypassed circuits, rerouted an ancient core. You know ships? He gave a faint smile. I've stolen a few. The ship's engine gave a soft hum, like it was waking from a long sleep. Suddenly, a blaster clicked behind them, step away from the console. They froze. A figure stepped out from the shadows. Dusty armor, a torn scarf, and eyes that glowed faint gold. She held a weapon steady, but her voice was calm. Name's Ron, she said. Bounty hunter, but not for the Empress. Irea tensed. So who sent you? Ran lowered her weapon. No one. I came for the girl, yes, but not to sell her. I came because I served her mother. Irea blinked. Ran reached into her coat and pulled out a pendant shaped like a shard of the royal crest. My oath was to the true queen, and when I heard the crest lit up again, I knew it had to be her daughter. Cole didn't relax. How do we know this isn't a trick? Rand looked at Irea, because if it was, I wouldn't be alone. Just then, 2 more bounty ships passed overhead, but didn't fire. Those aren't my crew, Ron said. They are looking to sell her, and they'll be here in minutes. Cole stood up. Then we take the ship and go. Rand shook her head. That wreck won't fly far. But there's a smuggler's lane below the canyon. I can guide you. If you trust me. Irea studied her. Something about the woman's eyes reminded her of her mother. Fierce, loyal, sad. She nodded. We trust you, for now. Ron holstered her weapon. Then we move. You two are worth more than your weight in star crystals now. And the galaxy's feeling greedy. As they climbed out of the ship and followed Rayan into the narrow pass, Irea looked back once. The stars above blinked like silent witnesses. She whispered to Cole, "Do you think we'll survive this?" He didn't lie. "I don't know, but I'll make sure you do." And in the shadows behind them, one of the bounty captains crouched, watching through a scope. He didn't fire. Not yet, because this prize was too valuable to waste on death. The desert shifted beneath their feet. Red cliffs surrounded them like the ribs of an ancient beast, cracked and dry with time. Wind howled through the canyon, carrying with it whispers, voices of the old bloodlines that once ruled this place. Irea walked in silence. Each step brought a strange warmth to her chest. Not pain, not power, something older. Like a memory trying to surface, Rayan led them through the hidden path. She called the smuggler's spine. It wasn't marked on any map. The walls were carved with deep symbols, not writing, but runes. And as they passed, the runes glowed faintly beneath Irea's shadow. She didn't notice, but Cole did. They respond to her, he said quietly to Ron. The bounty hunter nodded. They recognize royal blood, the old kind. The kind that ruled. Not with fear, but fire. Cole looked at Irea. She doesn't even know who she is yet. Rayan glanced back. Then she's lucky. Most people die knowing only lies. By dusk, they reached a hollow, a wide circular stone plain with a broken gate at its center. Half buried in sand, the gate shimmered like glass. Irea froze. I've seen this, she said. Cole stepped beside her. Where? She looked at him, voice distant. In dreams. When I was young, my mother, she would hum a tune at night. And I'd see this place in my sleep, every time. Ron spoke softly. Your mother brought you here, once, as a baby, before she sent you away. Irea walked forward, slowly. Her fingers touched the gate. A vibration echoed through her bones. The ember crest around her neck pulsed once, then melted into light, and sank into the gate. The stone rippled, then opened. Inside was not what they expected. The world beyond the gate was green, vines curled. Up marble walls, ancient statues stood frozen in battle poses, and a long, still pool stretched through the center like a glass river. The stars above looked closer here, like they'd stepped into another piece of the galaxy. Rayan whispered, "This is the temple of the ancients." The last place her mother stood before war broke out. Irea touched the edge of the pool. It reflected her face, but behind her reflection was another, a woman, silver hair, same eyes, a crown. Her mother. Do you see her? She asked. Cole stepped forward. See who? Irea turned. The image was gone. Nothing, she whispered. But her heart beat harder. Further inside, they found the Hall of Fire, a round chamber with a circular pedestal in the center. Old, Energy flickered in the floor. Rayan stepped back. "This is as far as I go," Cole frowned. "Why?" Rayan looked at Irea. "Because only royal blood may enter the trial circle. If I step in, I burn." Irea's hands shook. "What happens in there?" Rayan met her eyes. "The temple reads you. Mind, memory, pain. If you survive, it marks you as the heir. If you lie to it, it kills you." Irea turned to Cole. "I'm not ready." He nodded. "No one ever is." She stepped forward. The moment her foot touched the circle, the entire room lit up. Inside, time disappeared. She stood in a space of light and shadow. Faces from her past appeared. The woman who fed her in hiding, the guard who spit on her, the child she once held who didn't survive the purge. Then came her mother, tall, proud, sad. "Irea," the image said, "you are my flame, my defiance, but you are not me." "I'm not ready," Irea whispered. The figure stepped closer. "The fire doesn't wait for permission. It only asks, will you burn?" Tears ran down her cheeks. "I'm afraid." "Then you are worthy." The image raised its hand. Light filled Irea's body, not pain, but warmth. A heartbeat that wasn't hers. A voice she had always buried inside, and a word that echoed in her soul. "Rise." She collapsed into Cole's arms outside the trial chamber. Her body was marked now, not just by the bond, but by glowing lines across her back and arms, symbols of royal fire. Cole looked into her eyes. Something had changed. She wasn't the same girl. He pulled from the chains. Ron bowed low. "Your Majesty." Irea's voice was soft. "I don't want a throne." Rand didn't look up. "That doesn't matter anymore." Cole whispered, "Now what?" And from behind them, a voice answered, "Now we kneel or die." They turned, and there stood a squad of elite Empress soldiers, blades drawn, their commander grinning. "I've tracked this brat across 2 moons, he growled. "Now I get to cut her heart out and claim the bounty." Cole stepped in front of Irea, but she pulled his hand away. "No," she said, voice steady. "I'm done hiding." The wind inside the temple howled like a wounded animal. The soldiers stood in a half circle, weapons drawn, their leaders' grin wide and full of bloodlust. "Give me the girl," he said, stepping forward. "She's worth more than this whole canyon." Irea didn't move. She stood tall now, not trembling, not afraid, her eyes glowing like embers under her skin, her royal markings shining across her body like armor. "I'm not just the girl anymore," she said softly. The soldier raised his blade. Before he could take a step, Cole moved. He was faster than Irea had ever seen him. His blade met the commander's in a flash of sparks. Their clash echoed across the temple walls like thunder. Soldiers charged. Ryan fired from behind a column, hitting 2 before ducking. Cole fought without words, his strikes clean, brutal, calculated. But they were outnumbered. 10-1. Irea stood still. She could feel the bond burning in her chest, not draining now, but waiting. It wasn't hurting her. It was offering itself, asking her to decide. Was she ready to stop running? One soldier got past Cole. He rushed toward Irea, screaming. She didn't flinch. She raised her hand, and the symbol on her palm exploded in light. The soldier froze in midair, not because she held him with force, but because he had no air left to breathe. Her fire wrapped around his throat, his weapon, his memories, and turned it all to ash. The room went quiet. The remaining soldiers stepped back. Cole, blood on his jaw, turned to her. And for a moment, just a moment, the galaxy changed direction. After the battle, the soldiers lay scattered. Ryan stood at the edge of the pool again, whispering a prayer in an old language. Cole wiped his blade and sat down, exhausted. Irea walked to the center of the temple's dais. The floor lit beneath her feet. A voice echoed from the stones, the same voice she heard during the trial. "Do you wish to claim the throne?" She looked back at Cole. At the man who carried her when she couldn't walk, who stood against death when she couldn't speak, who had given up everything without ever asking for anything back. "No," she said aloud. "I don't want a throne." "Then what do you seek?" She stepped off the circle and walked toward Cole. He looked up, confused. "What's happening?" She sat beside him. "You already gave me the reward," she said softly. "You saw me when no one else would. You believed I mattered." Cole's eyes searched hers. "You saved yourself." She shook her head. "Not at first." She held his hand, the same hand that had once broken her chains. "You were the first thing in my life that wasn't violence. That wasn't survival. That just was." He smiled slightly. "So what now?" She leaned her head on his shoulder. "We build something. Not a kingdom. Not a war. Something human." Rand walked over, silent for a moment. "Others will come," she said. "More than before." Irea looked up. "Then we let them." Rand frowned. "You're not going to run?" "No," Irea said. "We're going to live. And if they come to take that from us, they'll learn something else." Cole raised an eyebrow. "What's that?" Irea stood slowly, the fire in her blood now calm, controlled. Hers, that you can kill a queen. You can kill a soldier. You can kill a name. She looked at the ashes on the floor. But you can't kill a story. Weeks later, whispers moved through the galaxy. The Empress's bounty had failed. Her best hunters never returned. And on the edges of the empire, a camp was said to exist. Not a palace, not a throne. Just a quiet space filled with warmth and new beginnings. Some said the half-blood lived there. Some said she had vanished. But all agreed on one thing. A man once stood in front of a crowd and said, "Stop." And everything changed. Asterisk they were about to quarter the alien girl, but the human saved her. The reward was something even the stars couldn't measure.